Krish, I think you are on mute if you are speaking.
Yeah, Tushar, just give us 1 minute. We'll start
Yeah,
this
sure.
shortly. Okay, guys, please turn on your videos. We're going to start our next session, which is on communication and collaboration. Tushar Gupta from Samagra will be taking this session. So over to you, Tushar.
Thanks, Abhishek. Hi, everyone. So, how was Chakshu's session? Let me see some reactions.
Guys, please show some reactions. Please make it interactive. Please turn on your videos.
I know you must all be thinking, why this session? Why do we want to have this session? So, before starting this session, let me tell you a small snippet of how I got into Samagra. So, I tried to get into Samagra through Sil4GP, but luckily, on the same end, I was able to get into some other open source fellowship. So I was not able to apply on C4GP, and still I was able to get an interview here at Samagra. And how that happened, what tips and tricks that you have to make sure to be a good communicator, and how to collaborate well. So these tips and tricks I'll be sharing through in this session, and whatever things that I've learned through overall my journey of open source. And this session is going to be a bit more aligned towards the open source ecosystem, and I've shaped it in a way so that it helps you in figuring out how can you take those things and put it in C4GP. Yeah, so I'll start by sharing my screen first. I hope I am perfectly audible. There has been some internet issues. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, thanks. Great. Let me just I hope you can see the screen. Can I see some reactions? Yeah, cool. So hi everyone, my name is Tushar Gupta. I'm a SD1 here at Samagra, and before Samagra, I've been a lot involved with open source projects, namely P5PY, which is the current open source project that I'm currently maintaining. Apart from that, I've been part of uh, some few open source fellowships like MLH fellowship, processing fellowship, etc. So this session is going to be on communication, collaboration, and open source projects, and how you can take that and put that in C4GP. So moving forward, let's start because I know. So first of all, I'd like to ask what defines an effective communication according to you. Any comments? Anyone who wants to answer that by muting his mic? You can write in chat if you're not comfortable.
Clarity.
When we are able to effectively, or the message we want to transfer to the receiver and receiver is able to get the message properly. So yeah, that is effective communication.
Yes. Great. Anyone else?
When we are able to share our thoughts more effectively and clearly. So I think that is effective communication.
Yes. Yeah. So according to me, an effective communication defines these following traits, and the two answers are also right. So the first very important trait of an effective communication is that it is sustainable. So you must be thinking sustainability in terms of communication. What does it mean? What does it mean? And like, what is sustainability in terms of communication? So first of all, what you have to do is whenever you communicate, you have to write messages or display or convey your thoughts in a way such that it has all the context that is needed, and it is on a medium that is being used widely by the community, and everything is at one place. So if you are discussing a proposal with your mentor, you can use Discord or a Discord thread to have all the communication related to a specific feature of your proposal there only. So this makes the conversation and the communication sustainable, so that in future, if someone else comes in the next C4CT cohort, if someone else comes and wants to see what were the design decisions that were taken in taking this proposal, he can just go through the chats and see it. So there's a in corporate joke that goes around is that if you are not able to find it on Stack Overflow, you will be able to find it on your company's chat. So you have to make sure that your communication that you are doing is sustainable. Clarity, I hope you all must be guessing it from the word that you that whatever you want to display or convey is clear enough for the mentors and the community members. So one good way of doing is whenever you are writing a message, just before sending it, just do a quick read and reread it itself and explain it to yourself. So whenever you do this, you will find some loopholes or some words or keywords that are ambiguous in nature. So you can replace that in your messages and increase the clarity of your communications. Coming to details, so whenever you communicate, make sure that you provide enough details in it. So by details, I don't just mean the context, I also mean the required links, a specific thing that you are talking to, and whatever you can do to make it more elaborate. Like context setting is one thing, but making it more elaborate and a good document kind of a thing is another. So make sure that you provide great details in your communication, in whatever communication that you do. Try to be as elaborate as possible, just in the way that most of you have been in your proposal. And one important aspect of effective communication is using a friendly tone. And this is an important thing actually, because a lot of times the way you there's the major way in which you are going to communicate in C4CT is going to be the text messaging way, and if your message doesn't sound right, or it doesn't sound friendly enough, you'll be not able to get proper feedback and constructive feedbacks on your messages, because one might hesitate to do so. And transparency. So by transparency, I mean that don't discuss things with one-on-one on DM. Do everything on a public channel like Discord or a Slack channel or whatever channel that your project or that your C4CT project or any open source project is using. Be transparent so that all the community members can see your doubts, and in case when your mentor is not available, maybe some other folk from the community can come and help you. So these are the major traits that I have recognized that are present in an effective communication. So I'll be going through some examples as well on how can you effectively communicate and stuff like that. So moving on. Yeah. So can you guys tell me what are the mediums that you have seen in open source projects which are used for communication, and do you know which one to use when? You can refer PPT and answer, but do you know when to use, which one to use when? Anyone?
I think mailing lists are used when there's a new release or there's a new administration elected. That's when mailing lists are passed, because it goes to everybody. And open channels, these would just basically be talking about the recent code pushes, and if there's any design challenges they're facing, then people will be discussing about that. Yeah, and I think public is for newcomers, if anybody wants to get to know about the product.
Yes, right. So yeah, given that these two ways are not a hard standardized rule over all the open source project, but these two mediums to communicate and when to use them is a general pattern or a trend that I found in most open source projects, and I'll be proving that with an example as well. So basically, most open source projects divide their communication into two places. There's one, public and open channels like community groups like Discord, Slack, and stuff like that. And then there are platforms and issue trackers like GitHub, GitLab, etc. So in the open channels, in the open channels that are present, those are generally used to get from the wider community. And those are generally used to go into more detailed discussion for different designs, for different design issues, or anything that you want to discuss with the community. Anything that you want to implement, you are not sure you want it to. You want to have a good, great discussion going on that specific thing. So those public channels are used for that. And platforms like GitHub and GitLab, they are majorly used to drive discussion related to some anchor point. So let's say if you want to propose something, like you know how Python works. There's a PEP community, which is Python enhancement proposal. There users go and propose a proposal that will enhance the Python language. And then there are platforms like GitHub, GitLab, where actual implementation goes, and user then discuss how this implementation, the specific implementation, could be increased enough, could be improved in a better way. So platforms like GitHub and GitHub are majorly used to get into more of a low-level design of how things needs to be done. And these open channels are generally used for both low-level design and majorly a high-level discussion on the design of things that you want to make and get review and share things. So this is how you should use these two channels. So let me show you by an example of how I understand that there are two different communication methods. So there was I hope you guys know Django. It's a Python web framework. Show me a thumbs up if you know what Django is. Cool. I see 1, 2. Yeah, I see a bunch of people know what Django is. So Django is a Python framework analogous to I think Nest. So like for example, we have Nest in JavaScript. Similarly, there's Django in Python. So it lets you design, it lets you create full stack web apps in using Python. So a few months back, I was trying to contribute to Django, and I found this issue a bit. I think you are not able to see that the view tab, right? Let me share the whole thing. Can you see the Django ticket? Are you guys able to see that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So so this was an issue that I wanted to contribute back to, and there was a problem statement that was already there. So this is their public open communication channel, and what you can see is they have all the discussion that was put into this issue right from the day it was created. So you can see 15 months ago someone created an issue, and then some months back he explained the issue that we need this and this, and we have looked on to these options. So this place is somewhere where you can discuss options, discuss the way you can solve a issue. So I started a draft PR after figuring out some designs, and this is the draft PR that I made. So let me show you. So why I'm this PR will make you clear that why we should use separate channels for everything. Let me select the right tab. Are you saying GitHub now? Are you guys able to see the GitHub?
No, sir, not yet.
Let me. You can go on with the chat. You must be seeing it now. Can you please say? Let me try again. I hope you see the screen now, the whole screen. Still no. Let me quickly rejoin them. Let me try again. So I'm sharing my entire screen. And okay, Can you see now? Let's see in the chat or reactions.
Yes, sir.
So if you'll go through this specific pull request, so this is a pull request on which I proposed a solution. It was fine. It was kind of a draft PR in which I wanted to propose a solution. And as you can see, I've explained what all went into this PR. And you could see this PR was not perfect. And there was a discussion that started going on this ticket. So what the maintainer did is he closed this PR and added, please continue discussing possible solutions in the ticket. So as you can see, these, because Django is a very stable project and these folks know where to communicate and where to put all the communications related to a project, related to specific issue into. So you can see how he has, he directed me to continue discussing about the possible solutions of the ticket in the ticket tracker only, so that everything remains at one's place. So this is one of the way in which you can effectively communicate by following the whatever guidelines the project have in discussing the proposal and making a PR. So this is one thing that you have to keep in mind whenever in whatever project you are working on C4GT. Organizations are different, so the way they'll be operating is different. Maybe someone prefers using GitHub discussions to discuss the solutions. Maybe someone wants to discuss it on Slack first and then make a PR, and you have to keep track of that. So moving on to so yeah, some unsaid rules and guidelines in effective communication. First of all, do not expect instant replies from your maintainers and mentors. So when I started with open source, I assumed that people are doing this full time, they are maintaining projects full time, but this is not the truth. They have a full-time job, and along with that, they are working on the open source project. So do not expect instant replies from maintainers and mentors. They'll be replying to you whenever they find the time. And make sure that whatever message that you put in have all the context and everything in that message, so that whenever the mentor reads the message, he doesn't come back with more doubts on what you want to ask. The query should be clear enough. Second thing is keep your tone gentle. You don't have to be you should ask things politely, and in case your mentor forgets, which is something that will happen a lot, in case your mentors forget to reply back, you can nudge your maintainers with soft reminders. So a good reminder is reminder to get your thoughts on this, or something like that. And a soft reminder, not something like that you have not replied on this thread, please revert back, and something like that. So second is being inclusive in nature and thoughts. So being inclusive in nature and thought. So what basically is the crux of this point is that you don't assume anything. So even if you are talking to a mentor, just don't assume that he knows what you are talking about. So if you will keep this thing in mind, that the person whom you are talking to does not have whole idea of the thing that you are proposing or you want to convey. So you always put in enough details such that the context is properly there. So don't assume anything. Given all the details that is necessary, provide everything, every pull request, every links that clears up the context. The second last thing is being respectful in community. So C4GT and most open source projects are not just about you and your mentor. It's a community program. And as you know that C4GT also has a community program running. So you'll have to be inclusive about the other community members who are trying to contribute to your project parallelly. So you will be having your C4GT cohort running, and there are other contributors who will be contributing as well to the project, and they all will be communicating through the same community channels. So always be respectful to other members in the community, and avoid tagging people when possible. So what I mean is that you don't have to tag everyone everywhere. Just tag people whom do you want to see this message, and in most cases try and avoid tagging if possible. So moving on tips that you should keep in mind for collaborating well. So first of all, the most important thing is doing extensive research, and this single point will be the anchor point in how your mentor replies back to you, how good feedback will you get from the community. So always try to put in effort, do an extensive research, format it properly, and then share it with others on what thing that you want to make and how do you want to make it. Second is if your community is on Discord, so I think C4GT is going to be, you'll be communicating your maintainers on Discord a lot, and communities are going to be done on Discord. So Discord has this great feature called threads. So what you can do is, if there's a message that is receiving a bunch of multiple replies, what you can do is you can create a thread out of it. So it's going to be a separate chat inside a chat, and all the messages related to a specific thing stays in that. So this is how you can keep all the context related to something at a single place, and this is like a very effective strategy, and please utilize threads to its fullest. And third point is GitHub, leveraging GitHub to fullest. So I'm not sure if, I think most of you might have used GitHub's UI, but GitHub provides a great UI to communicate and collaborate with other members in the community. So I've specified the links that you can go through, but I'll also show you some examples on the GitHub UI that I'm talking about. This is the official doc of GitHub on communicating on GitHub, and it links, it mentions all the features that are there, but I'll show you some practical examples and things that you can keep in mind. So for example, this slide is specific to C4GT. What you can do is, when you will start your C4GT project, is in the first week, for in terms of collaboration, what you can do is you can ask your mentors to start a C4GT 23 milestone on your project. So GitHub provides a thing called milestone, in which you can specify what issues are you going to complete or put or relate to that milestone. So you can ask your mentors to create a C4GT 23 milestone, and in the initial week itself, you'll specify the issues. Like, you'll break down your problem statement into I'm sure that you have already break down your problem into week-wise sprints in your proposal. So you can just create issues out of it and put it in the C4GT 23 milestone. So your maintainer will be able to do this because he has admin rights. And the next thing that you want to do in the first week is schedule a bi-weekly or a weekly one-on-one call with the maintainer. And I think there's a weekly one-on-one call already being happening. So in the subsequent, so this is what you have to do in the first week. Now coming to in the subsequent weeks, what you have to do is at the start of each week, you pick the issue for that week and you detail out that. So what you do is you make sub issues out of the main parent issue, and set a clear expectation on what is going to be the output at the end of the week. So this is something I'll show you in an example as well, that how you should detail out things, and how you should use GitHub UI to like effectively communicate what is the current state of the project. And
Tushar?
Yeah.
Sorry, once you're done with this, could you like go back to slide 3?
Yeah, sure. So whenever you are when you create issues, just make sure to get them reviewed by the mentors. And I'll show you the third point right now. So for example, this is the project P5PY that I was talking about. So we had an issue called adding SIA renderer for P5PY, and I want you to all focus on few major things. You can see 5 of 7 tasks appearing here. This is GitHub's UI, and you can see integrate SKIA and this icon. So this icon is called the milestone icon, and this task list is something that you can get here. So what you can do is you can create a checkbox kind of thing on GitHub in the issue itself, and that would be reflected as tasks in the main issue template. So what you can do is assume this is your week-wise issue. You go into this issue, you detail out this issue with further smaller issues, and then as soon as you keep completing them, you can just create a tick on this. And whenever you create a tick, this UI will get updated automatically. And if anyone wants to see the current state of the project, he can just come to the C4GT milestone, go to the issues and see the current status of the tasks that are there. So this is a great way in which you can do things, organize things, and collaborate on the project with your mentor and the community. So like a good tip from me is to, if you guys follow this, next is some few more tips that I want to share is whenever you write PR descriptions or issue descriptions, you have to make it detailed as much as possible and as elaborate as possible. So anyone, if someone comes to that issue a year later, he has all the things that present in the description that he needs to understand that specific issue or a PR. And GitHub UI is something that you can use to link issues and like for example here, if you can see, we can just link issues to whatever task that we have. So please do use this. The most important thing that I want to convey is that you should never have tech debts on documentation. So each PR that you create should have documentation with it. It should not be a thing that you will take up in the last week. So it should not happen like that. You should create a feature and also update the documentation on the go. So you should not like wait for the end of the C4G2 to pick up documentation. I know documenting things is hard, and even I don't like it, but you should never have tech debts on documentation. It will always come back and bite you. Also, make sure that you create multiple small PRs instead of a one big chunky PR. I think if you went through Shruti's Git and GitHub session again, she has shared the branching strategy. So make sure that you use the right branching strategy feature wise and make small PRs instead of a big one chunky PR that a maintainer will likely reject and ask you to redo the whole thing. Making small PRs. The last more important thing as a contributor for you is that you focus on sustainability of the projects as well. So what do I mean by sustainability of projects is whenever your C4GT cohort ends, you leave the project in a state such that it is welcoming for other contributors in the community. So a good thing that you can do is you can make the project end-to-end automated to set up. So any user can just come and click on and run a specific command, and whole project is end-to-end setup. So this is a good thing that you can start with to make the project sustainable, because it is an entry point for any contributor to first set up the project. And if you crack that setting up process in a good way, then project sustainability goes up. And also after you leave, you make issues that other community members can pick up. You apply proper tags, and even after C4GT, you keep contributing and interacting with the community for other future contributors that are coming back. So these were the so this is majorly everything that I wanted to talk about in communication and collaboration. So coming back to the third slide. Yeah, please shoot your question. Hi, someone had a question? Cool. You can reach out to me Discord as well. I think our time is up.
Okay, guys, if you have any